Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got full rockin' my piano out there.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Oh, this hard goddamn work being this good.
One more again, see what I take on your front set, I swear.
You ain't my daddy, are you?
There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
What time is it? Game time.
Okay, welcome again to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. We are coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in the Adelaide CBD. I'm your host, B. Caruana, joined again by my good friend Steve Burrows.
Guess who's back?
Oh, you
Back. I've had some time off, man. What do you want? I'm out of form.
You had 1 week in the reserves, mate. I thought you'd get a bit of run in your legs. You might come back, ready to go. But no, you came back and shit the bed. Anyway, before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Larry and Ladd. Go see the boys in Region Arcade. Get yourself an awesome coffee and listen to some pretty sweet tunes. But for now, on with the show. Now, Steve has an issue to start with, as always. Steve always got something in his craw, sticking in his craw that he wants to bring up. So, Steve, I'll let you take the floor. You tell me what's irking you this week.
What's irking? It's just because I'm old, I guess. Everything bugs me these days, man. It's like...
You're about 3 seconds away from a get off my lawn, you are.
Speaking of my lawn, by the way,
Yep.
It's been down 3 weeks now.
Yep.
And if you remember, you actually was the one who said we can have a segment about my lawn. So if you will, I've got about 18 minutes of content to talk about. Nah, it looks killer.
Now, speaking of a couple of weeks ago, we did discuss this. We have had feedback, not so much on the written feedback, but I get stopped in the street. We do get recognised. We are national celebrities. For anyone outside of the country, yes, we're huge. We're the 7th biggest podcast in Australia, all of Australia. If you believe that, I love you. But we've had a lot of people stop me.
Yeah.
And answer your question
About?
What makes a man?
Yeah.
Electric lawnmower? No.
Doesn't make the cut. Doesn't make the cut.
Did not. It was a resounding no, Steve. I was like, yeah, no. Men, women, children, all of them stopped to tell Steve, get a engine on that thing.
Yeah, put some petrol in there.
Yeah, you might have to move house again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I haven't given the bad boy a test on the big lawn at the
Were
back.
you allowed to call it a bad boy?
Well, I wrote it on the side of it to make it feel more manly.
Did you put bad boys with a Z on the end to make it sound cool?
I put bad boy with a couple of lightning
Oh,
streaks.
lightning bolts. No flames.
Makes it go fast.
Yeah. You're really digging a hole for yourself.
Yeah, wow. Anyway, look, the lawn's looking great.
Yeah.
Haven't mowed it yet.
Yep.
Probably next weekend.
Well, here we go. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll give it a good 4 weeks.
Do we need a bit of rain? Are we praying for a bit of rain?
Yeah. Well, when I laid it, it was really hot.
Yep.
So I was watering it twice a day.
Yep.
But then we had a bit of rain the weekend before. It's dried up a bit, so we'll see. Hopefully there's a bit of rain today, tomorrow. I don't know. It was forecast, but...
Well, that's been lawn chat, folks.
Tune in for next week.
Yeah, tune in for next week. We'll continue. I think this should be a recurring segment, lawn
definitely.
chat. So we'll keep up to date with Steve's lawn. I know, like I said, some of the married gentlemen that are listening to this show, I know they appreciate lawn chat.
Yeah.
So we'll make this a recurring theme. But Steve,
Yeah, sorry, man.
get back to what was really bugging you, other than your lawn not quite growing properly.
Yeah.
Hit me what was bugging you this week.
What was bugging me was the hype about the All-Star weekend, the NBA All-Star weekend. It just happened...
Past weekend, yeah.
Monday gone. And for anyone who's listening, who listens to, who I usually get into these conversations with, I hate the All-Star weekend. It's an overhyped, garbage basketball game.
Yep.
Mostly on the shoulders of one LeBron, because as I was explaining to my brother-in-law the other day, who's a massive LeBron fan, he's one of those guys who actually thinks LeBron is going down as the GOAT.
So Clarence is right.
Clarence, okay, it's Clarence. Yeah, I didn't want to name and shame him because
he's a real gangster. His name's Clarence.
His real name's Clarence. But yeah, I was saying the All-Star, like anything, when you're the leader of in this instance, the league, LeBron is by far the best player and has been for a long time. He is a leader, so everything falls on his shoulders. If he plays hard, then everyone will play hard.
Yeah.
If he takes a day off, then everyone's going to take that off because he leads by example. And I feel like the last 10 years, other than that awesome Kobe moment and LeBron moment of what?
When Kobe blocked him twice.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years ago, whenever that was. Other than that, the All-Star games have been absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
The fact that things like Anthony Davis, who's a good player, the fact that he's now got the most points, he scored 50 or something, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain, he beat Wilt Chamberlain's record, man. It's lasted for 50 years. It just shows that it's not even worth watching. It's your turn, you go dunk it. Your turn, I'll shoot a 3-pointer. Your turn. So I've basically boycotted it.
Yeah.
And then, just to make me hate LeBron a little bit more, the game I actually don't fucking watch, he turns it up, has a great fucking game, and everyone's raving. I was going to say,
you obviously didn't watch this year's game because the new format has made it a much better game.
Yeah, and that bugs me, man. It bothers me, and it's just another reason that,
Because he only turns up when you're not watching.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically, welcome to my AFL season supporting Carlton. Basically, if I watch them, they're getting killed. If I don't watch them, they won this week. So, that's great. Thanks,
it just
boys.
bothers me, man. It just bothers me that, I've been not watching it. And even the whole weekend, the dunk comp's rubbish. There was that one year that, Gordon and what's
Levine
his face.
were good,
That was amazing.
And the year before that too, Levine and Oladipo were very good.
Yeah, okay.
It was last year's was atrocious.
Yeah.
And I think about 4 years ago when John Wall one was atrocious. But this year's one, it got back to good, honest dunks.
Okay.
Now, my only issue with the dunk comp this year was maybe they should get 3 dunks in the first round and 2 in the second because Oladipo missed his first one 3 times, and that's obviously you don't get points for that. And then he hit a pretty cool second one. But if he'd had a chance for a third, then it opens it up. And Dennis Smith Jr., same thing. First dunk, didn't quite nail it, so then he hit a double clutch reverse, but it was only like a 38 or something. But then he got a perfect 50 for his reverse 360 between the legs, which was a good dunk.
Actually, I did see that in the highlights,
But then he doesn't make the finals because his first dunk was so weak. So if they had like a third, that was my only issue with the dunk comp.
Is there still 4 guys? 4 guys?
4 guys, but I reckon 3 opening dunks and then 2 in the finals, I think would be a much better way to go. Because that way it just opens it up a bit more. Because this year, you didn't see so many props and stuff like that, which was the thing that killed it last year with the drones and DJ Khaled on the court and stuff like that. But they had good, honest dunks. But the problem is when you start going good, honest dunks, you start getting a little bit safer. And then that's when the excitement goes out of it. But this is where I'm going to step in here.
Okay.
Happiness is a function of expectation. Okay, so you're expecting these great things to happen because we sort of, we hear about we didn't really watch the MJ dunk comps live.
That's right, of course.
And we sort of got through and we got sort of spoiled with the Vince Carter, Jason Richardson era, which were just incredible. They're some of the best dunk comps you'll ever see. Now these days, it's kind of going back to a lot of the 80s sort of dunk comps. It's like this year, I noticed it was a lot of, he slammed that pretty hard. It was like some of those things that it's a small thing, the straight arm windmills and stuff like that. If you saw those back in the 90s, you go, these dunks are sick. It's only now you watch these quote unquote professional dunkers on YouTube or whatever, and they're pulling out the ridiculous stuff. It's like, well, that's not really feasible. It's like, you see it happen on YouTube, but how many times did they attempt that? You only ever see the makes. And when you're on a big stage like that, you've got 3 attempts. You're not going to go for something too fancy because if you, like Oladipo, if you miss the dunk a couple of times, then it's not quite as impressive. You're not going to win.
Right.
So that's the issue with that one. The All-Star game, this year's format, and obviously they're going to keep it the same going forward, was awesome.
Right.
So it made the game competitive again. But I'm going to push back against your blaming LeBron because he is the king.
But who else does it fall on, though?
It's Steph.
No, what?
It falls on Steph. No. Because you look at the All-Star game since the Warriors got hot. That's the last few years. That's when the All-Star game's gone to shit because it stopped being, back in the early 2000s stuff in the late 90s, it was always, it was still, you have a turn, I have a turn, you have a turn. They allowed dunks and this and sort of stuff. But it was a lot more of, it would be, all right, you two, everyone's go to that side of the court, let me go one-on-one with this guy. Or let me go, like Jordan would go one-on-one with Kobe. Or, like that sort of stuff. But that was, mid-range game. This year, like recently, it's just been, how far away can I be from the basket to shoot a 3? And that's not LeBron's game. There was games like when that game you said Anthony Davis scored 60 or whatever. He hit about 5 threes.
Right.
Now Russell Westbrook scored 45 in that same game, And he only played about 20 minutes because
Yeah.
he was seriously, as soon as he came past half court, he was chucking threes. It was
Yeah.
just, that's what the issue with the game is. It wasn't so much about all the dunking and like the layups. It just became who can shoot from further away. And obviously, more threes go in, higher score, and then it just gets ridiculous.
Yeah, well, look, I actually...
You make a good point there, Spur. Yeah,
no,
well
you
done.
know, maybe... Yeah, I'm still not...
Because a lot of LeBron's, like you said, when LeBron was on the come up and he was, the king and stuff like
Yeah.
that, those, like I said, the showdown with Kobe, they were classic All-Star games. 3 quarters are fucking around and the last quarter gets serious.
Yeah.
It's only been the last few years where it's just been 4 quarters of I'm not really trying and let me shoot this 3 from the logo.
I feel like I've been talking about this for years. I reckon, the old memories on the Facebook?
Yep.
Every February 14, 15, whatever it is, comes up with all my statuses for the last 10 years about bagging out. So it's been a while since I've been trashing the All-Star game.
It's because you just don't like LeBron because everyone talks him up because
no,
he's better than Jordan.
well, first of all...
Because you have rose-coloured glasses, Stephen.
No, first of all, I love these memory status Facebook things because in the early days, I was on LeBron, man. I was backing LeBron against the Kobe guys.
Yeah, and I was a Kobe guy.
And I was like, LeBron is the best player. And everyone was like, nah, Kobe's better. It's only when Kobe, pretty much blew his Achilles out and everyone had kind of figured, look, he's not the greatest. And everyone jumped on the LeBron train. And then I started going, hang on a second. And we got into that argument. That's all. I was always, and I love LeBron. I do. I'm just saying.
But I just don't think you can blame him for the All-Star game. It's just...
It's his era. This is his era.
How many All-Star games have you really gotten into?
Obviously, we talked about LeBron and the Kobe moments
Yep.
a little while ago. And you have to forgive me because my short-term memory is fading.
Yeah.
So I do remember the classic ones. One of the classic ones was the one that you reminded me about a little while ago was the 2001-ish.
Yeah.
When the West were up by 20.
Yeah, going into last quarter. Yeah.
And AI and Stephon Marbury just pulled it back. And what I loved about it was, I think it ended up being like 106, 105 or something like that. But what I loved about it is they were so passionate about it. It was huge, man. That wouldn't happen in the last 10 years because no one gives a shit.
It goes back to the aggression of the ego thing. It's kind of got to the stage where it's just the personalities.
It is. That's right.
LeBron is I'm the best and I'm the best. He has that sort of 90s, late 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s personality of I'm the best. You guys can prove yourself. The other guys are just like, yeah, whatever, guys. Like Steph. He was the king of his team. Oh, we're going to bring over the next best player. All right, cool, whatever. Durant was apparently the second best player in the whole NBA, and he's just like, nah, I want to go play with these guys. It's not this. I want to be better than you. It's like, well, I didn't win. I'll play with you. Yeah. It's just not. It's not the same aggression as it used to be. So and that doesn't carry through to the All-Star game. But I found this year's one because they got to select their own teams. That sort of had a bit of are you drafting my boys against your boys? And it kind of had that sort of pick-up feel about it. These are my boys against your boys, and we're going to play each other. Yeah. So that's why this year's one was a really good idea. And I think they're going to keep it that way going forward.
And that's awesome because to me, it's, I don't care about the open lane dunks. I don't care about the 30-foot three-point shots.
No.
I want to see the best play against the best in at least at the very minimum, semi-competitive game.
Well, like I said, that was you got to see the fourth quarter. If you're going to go back and watch any part of that game, watch the fourth quarter purely because the man I've been a big rap for a while, like Joel Embiid, they tried to, it was almost like one of those things like, all right, young pup, we're going to... And they tried to ISO him a couple of times on defense because he's so big. And there's one situation where they're down by a point and Paul George got him at the top of the key and tries to ISO him and he comes back and blocks him. It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
and a couple of times, he was content, because, they had all those open dunks, open lane dunks. Nah, Embiid was contesting shots, and he gave away a foul on Westbrook because I like he's got a little bit of heat with Westbrook.
Yes,
that shows. And that carried through to the game too, and that gave it a bit of oomph as well. So it's every time Westbrook went for an open lane dunk, Embiid was there. He was going to foul him or whatever, but he wasn't letting in any open shots, and that made it a lot better game. And that's why I think It's unfortunate it's the one that you missed out on, but I think it's really, really exciting stuff going forward.
I totally agree, and that's why, mate. Like I said, I'm putting it on LeBron, whether you agree with it or not. The last 10 years, it's the LeBron era.
Yep.
The buck stops with him.
Okay.
Okay, whether you like it or whether he likes it or not.
Still blaming Steph.
He leads by example. So I'm really upset, so I can't wait till next year.
Yep.
Then I'll judge again.
Well, my interest is, because I love my obscure facts.
Right.
And we're just obscure things that happen.
Yeah.
The highlight for the All-Star game for me
Yeah.
was Jimmy Butler.
Okay, what did Jimmy Butler do?
Nothing.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler did not leave the bench.
Oh, no way.
You know what?
Why? No.
As the tweets I saw kept coming through, LA Nightlife is undefeated.
Oh,
Apparently he
wow.
was out till 4 a.m. doing shots and he was severely hungover and he went up to the coach and went, yeah, no, don't put me in.
Oh, really?
So to me, I'm actually going to buy the Jimmy Butler. Honestly, this is, if you have a little gimmick about you, I mean, like I have a Bryant Reeves jersey, big country, because he had a bit of gimmick about him.
Yeah.
I am buying, it's my next purchase, is I'm buying the Jimmy Butler All-Star uniform from this year purely because he didn't play a second, not even 1 second. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge only played 4 minutes. Horford played like 10. And they just retired. They don't want to play. It's not their sort of game. They're post-up players. They have no real spot in the All-Star game. But Jimmy Buckets was just way too
that's
dusty
amazing.
to get on the court,
I did not know
which
that.
I think is really funny. So that worked a lot for me.
MVP for you.
Oh yeah, MVP. Yeah. Just you got to enjoy a bit of scumbag behaviour. And I like my athletes to have a hint of scumbag about them, and that's really scumbag, especially because like an All-Star berth is a pretty important thing. And there's a few guys that got stitched this year, like Ben Simmons and Lou Williams and stuff. It would have been their only chance to. Well, Lou Williams probably only chance to make an All-Star game, but yeah, and to get stitched up by a guy that can't even take the floor because he's hungover.
I know, that's a fucking salt in the wound, isn't it?
It was very, very funny to see. But we're going to move on to another topic, staying on sports.
Yep.
Now, I've been getting into it as I do, I get around these international events. Stephen,
Yeah.
thoughts on the Winter Olympics?
I forget that even on, man.
Yeah.
Who gives a hoot? Actually, I was in the gym this morning.
I'm glad you just chose not to swear.
Yeah. I was at the gym this morning and I saw the medal tally.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't even realise it was still on.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
2
even
weeks.
realise it was
2
still
weeks.
on. Yeah, it feels like it's being on, I've heard people talk about it. I feel like, is that still on?
I get into anything.
Right.
And if there's something exciting like that, like World Cup in a couple of months, I'm going to be all over that.
Yeah, that'd be
I don't
exciting.
watch a lot of soccer as much as I used to, but
Yeah.
when the World Cup's on, I'm that nutcase that will get up at 3 a.m. to watch a game.
It's in Russia, man.
Yeah,
What's the time difference?
I
man? That's
don't know, but I'm getting up to watch games. I don't care. It's a World Cup.
Yeah.
So I'm the same with the Olympics, and I'm the same with the Winter Olympics. So like today was exciting because we're recording once again on Friday. They had the speed skating on. And so
Okay.
every Australian loves watching the speed skating because we want to see if anyone else pulls a Bradbury.
That's
Now, the one thing I love about the Bradbury is the fact that everyone thinks that was a fluke. That's how he got into the final.
right.
Because he used to be a really good competitive speed skater when he was younger and stuff like that. Because he was at the end of his career when he won that gold. And he was saying he used to do these tournaments and stuff in Europe. And same thing, he would be one of those guys at the front of the pack that was racing for it and spilling out with the rest of the guys, and someone else would come through and win. So he just went, well, stuff that. I'm going to start using that tactic. Started working smarter instead of working harder.
Nice.
And that's how he actually won his semi-final as well. People don't remember that. He won the semi-final the exact same way he won the gold medal.
Oh, wow.
So that's why I'm always like, and so I always watch this, like, you've got to watch the speed skating because A, it's a pretty cool event to watch. But yeah, B, you just want to see if it happens again. It's sort of like when you watch NASCAR, you're only watching to see if it's going to be a huge crash.
Yeah, sure. Did they ask him to have is it Channel 7? Is it Channel 7?
Yep.
Did they is he the special comments guy?
No, I think he's had his,
He's had his
because
day?
it's been about 12 years
Yeah,
since he
it's been
did
a
it.
while.
So I think he's sort of lost his luster. He's not like doing the frosted tips anymore either. So.
He wasn't an accomplished skater though. He had won a medal before.
Like I said, he was good. Like that was at
Hadn't
the
he
end
won
of
a
his
silver
career.
the Olympics before?
He
the
won.
one
He
before
had
that?
he had medaled in something.
Yeah,
I do know
right.
that. Like I said, it's the one fact Rain Man doesn't know. But I do remember that. But then
Slipping.
they had the ski cross on this week because they do all the snowboard events in the first week, and they had the skiing events.
Is
in
that the one
second
where they
week.
wear the tennis rackets on their feet and then they go and
No,
they
that's
shoot?
cross country.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
you're thinking of the biathlon. That's the cross country skiing
And they
and
start
into the shooting, which is actually the hardest sport in the world. Because cross country skiing is so hard cardiovascular because you're basically walking in big skis, like
Yeah,
on
yeah,
essentially
yeah.
flat ground. And then in order to shoot a target, you've actually got to slow your heart rate down. So you've got to be super fit to, huff and puff and get, pretty much walking uphill in skis.
Yeah.
And then be able to sit down and settle on a target without your heart beating out of your chest. It's actually one of the fittest sports in the world.
And before you ever go on and make your point, because obviously you brought this up, I just want to make one more thing, is Winter Olympics seems like, what are these sports, man? Like, can I go and want to be? How do I be a luge fucking?
Well,
where they seem like these are sports that just happen every 4 years.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because that's the one that always makes me laugh. Is
Right.
everyone knows the bobsled because everyone loves Cool Runnings.
Right, of course.
Good movie,
Yeah.
you know? And so everyone kind of knows bobsled. 2-man bobsled doesn't get as much love.
Nah, it's about.
And then it was like one of those things was like all of a sudden it's like, hang on a tick, there's the luge. And there's
Yeah.
actually a 2-man luge, but that just looks a bit weird. But the thing I love about the luge is like there's bobsled, there's 2-man bobsled, there's 2-man luge, there's luge, and there's the skeleton.
Okay.
Now,
well, I don't know what
the skeleton is the one that makes me laugh because the skeleton, I feel, was invented by the guy that came second in the luge. Because the luge, you're going down, you're on that small little bit and you're sliding down the ice, you're going down feet first. The skeleton is you're on your stomach going down head first. So it's just some guy that's just going, came second in the luge. He's like, nah, well, fucking, I go down head first. You guys are pussies going down head first. And he decided to make up his own event. Oh, no, you guys are soft cocks.
I've never seen that, man. That's hilarious.
It's the best to watch because you are literally watching guys whose faces are like
Millimeters.
2 inches from the ice and they are going 150 k's an hour. Like, it is ridiculous. And it's like, he wobbled a little bit there. Mate, I'd be packing my decks.
Yeah. What's the grassroots level to get into this stuff? I mean, is there such a thing? I mean, where would you go in Adelaide if you wanted to be the next
next luge guy?
Luge guy.
I think you go up to the top of like Mount Lofty and then you get on a skateboard.
Because I was going to say, like, I don't know.
Well, street luge is the thing.
Yeah,
But
okay.
You obviously need
sure.
closed circuit for that, and we don't have,
Yeah.
not exactly going to go to Mount Theban in the ice arena and practice there. But, it's one of those things like I don't know how you get, because we don't have we're a very summer country.
Yeah,
We are all about summer. So we love our summer sports, so that's why it's not really as big. Which leads me into number 2. This is the reason why I love the Winter Olympics.
Okay.
Because I'm 34 now, but I haven't given up the dream, Steve.
You're 34. I thought you
Yeah.
were older.
Oh, thanks,
Looking
mate.
at you.
Yeah. It's the grey. The grey's really kicked in the last couple of years.
Ah.
But my last dream to be an Olympic athlete is still available at the Winter Olympics
Okay, let's hear it.
in the grand sport of curling.
Okay, here we
Because
go.
that doesn't look like it has too much of an age difference. Like you have the little metal ball thing and you throw it and then you've got 2 mates sitting there brushing the ice in front of it.
Yeah.
I feel like you've got at least till about 45, 46 before you have to call it quits on that career. And I'm assuming, like I said, winter sports not huge in Australia. Maybe I'm only competing against 4 or 5 other guys. I think I might be able to find my way in curling.
You could possibly be the 3rd best curler right now in Australia. We all don't know fucking
I'm
know.
handy with some bocce and I'm handy with some lawn bowls, so I figure it's translatable. Those skills might come over, and I'm not too bad on a broom.
Is there how many people is in a team?
I think there's 4 in a team. You've got your skipper down the end. I think you got your 2 broomers or sweepers or whatever they're called, and then you got your man holding the rock and just slides it on one knee, and then just like with all the grace in the world, one hand just bam
So
takes
when-
the hand off and lets it slide.
When they go to the club
Yeah.
in Norway,
Yeah.
wherever the fuck
Oh,
they're
yeah.
from, does they get straight to the front of the line?
Oh
They
yeah,
go,
they're VIPs, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go any sort of Scandinavian country, Finland especially. Oh, Finland, they'd love themselves a curler. Now I'm making this up. This is not facts, but I don't think it's exciting. But this also leads me on to what I wanted to discuss for our next topic:
Yeah.
cheating in sports.
Okay.
Because the greatest story to come out of this Winter Olympics is, how they banned the entire Russian Federation from the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, they had to play under the flag or
Yeah,
something,
they all
right?
come at there under as OAR, Olympic Athletes of Russia.
Okay.
So they participate under the Olympic flag. If they win, they come out to the Olympic music.
Okay.
But the Russian athletes are the ones that didn't, that were clean.
Okay.
One of them tested positive
Yeah.
in the fucking curling.
Not in the ice weightlifting.
No, in the curling. Now, like I just said, I could do curling until I'm 46. It's not a real, athletic endeavor. Unless he's just got a contract where he's like, that he's the face of Russian curling. And it's because he's jacked.
He cuts that motherfucking ice up, man.
There is no reason to be on performance-enhancing drugs in the curling. That's just a guy that just likes doing drugs.
He's a junkie.
He is. He just wants to be jacked. Like, that is junkie behavior because you do not need performance-enhancing
Well, how do
drugs.
you know? Have you done it? You haven't done it. How do you know?
It just
What was it? What was the drug? Do we know?
I don't know, but it just said he's been banned for using performance-enhancing
Oh,
drugs.
okay.
I'm hoping it's like, he's on testosterone and
Yeah.
like Decker is just huge,
Jacked,
jacked
yeah.
up guy. And he just like rips his shirt. Like, if he had a gimmick to it, like Hulk Hogan, I'm all for a bit of performance-enhancing drugs. But to do it just for the curling, like when you're a special exempt athlete too,
Yeah.
mate, come on, pull your head in.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I did see something about that on I know Rogan or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's killer, man. That's
So-
hilarious.
So this leads me into, what do you think in our lifetime, because obviously there's been a lot of scandals and this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But what in your lifetime is the biggest sort of cheating, like either drugs, otherwise, corruption? What is the biggest sports cheating scandal that you've, witnessed?
Yeah, the one it would have been when I was 8, when I watched the Seoul Olympics.
Yep.
Seoul Olympics, I was 8, and it was the first Olympics, so I was old enough to understand what was going on.
Yep.
And so when you're in school, remember when you're in school and the Olympics come around, and it's like a big couple of weeks lead up, and you do everything sport, you do your own sports days, all that sort of shit. Ben Johnson
Yes.
was the Canadian sprinter, and everyone was calling him Big Ben because he had like these massive shoulders, like a little bodybuilder. And I'd always, ever since I was a kid, I loved the muscles. I always, and so I was like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And then for him to win the race, it was a mate. We were allowed to watch it live. I think I'm pretty sure we were at school at the time. They put the TV in the room. Pretty sure we watched it live, or at least a replay. I was so excited because Carl Lewis and him had a rivalry for the last 4 years, and he come out on top only for
Like
a few
48
days
hours,
later, come out that, and I was like, oh, and that was devastating. That would probably scar me forever.
Well, the thing that bugs me about that one is, like, okay, so I said I like an athlete with a bit of scumbag.
Yeah,
I don't.
You did say that
I
about 5 minutes
don't
ago.
like an athlete with cunt bag. Okay,
He dropped the C bomb.
big word. But Carl Lewis
Yeah.
is the biggest fucking sook
Yeah.
of all time, and he's that classic. No. Ben Johnson didn't beat me. He was cheating. Now, fun fact. Carl Lewis wasn't supposed to be at that Olympics because in his pre-screening he tested positive for ephedrine. But it got away with it because it was just, I took too many Sudafeds, which have that in it, and it's inadvertent use. Mate, get fucked. Like, everyone back in, that's the whole argument. It's always like, back in the day, everyone was taking drugs, so that's what you had to do to
Sure.
make a level playing field.
Yeah.
Nah, apparently Carl Lewis is just the world's greatest athlete. And he, like I said, won a lot of medals and
he
stuff like that.
was.
But, mate, just own up to what... If you... Don't say you're 100% clean when there's blemishes on your record too. That's my biggest thing, is don't be one of those people that preach.
Yeah.
And then it comes out that you may have done the wrong thing too, because he claims he was so fucking hard done by Ben Johnson. Oh, it was the only way Ben could have beaten me and this and that. It's like, mate, you were on stuff too.
Yeah.
You may have covered your stuff up better, and you claim that you're this great natural athlete, but you're full of shit and you're a fucking sook. So I've always taken up for Ben Johnson
Yeah.
because it's just like, no, well, fuck it. Like, okay, everyone was on drugs. It's one of those things where, like, drugs in sports, I'm kind of like, fuck, if they're all doing it. Because the other big one that you can lean into is like Lance Armstrong.
Of course.
And because Lance was, for years and years using it.
Yeah.
But that's cycling. Like, I've got a friend of mine that was in, like, a high level. He trained at the AIS, Stuart O'Grady, that era of cyclists.
Yeah.
And he goes, a lot of the guys that did cycling become drug dependent because they pump you full of everything up to the legal limit. And as soon as something gets changed, they just take that back. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so these cyclists become dependent on, like, they feel like, well, if I'm not taking something, I'm not doing well. You know,
Sure.
like, I need this to feel better.
Right.
And it was well known that on, especially the European circuit, they had all sorts of drugs going. So, like, even like there was an interview with Lance on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah.
And Rogan asked him, and if you had to give, the yellow jacket for the tour to the guy that was clean that won it, who would it have been? And he goes, the guy that came 26.
Yeah. That's
You know, and
right.
he goes, oh, so you actually won that race. You know, and like he was, like they say, it's all about, equal playing field. Well, when everyone's on drugs, it's still an equal playing field.
Yeah.
You know, and like, is it ethically right? No, but it's the way things go. Like, it's the old saying: if you're not cheating, you're not trying. You know, and like everyone always wants to say that sports this super clean thing, but it's not. It's
No.
and it probably never will be.
Yeah, and I don't think when these people take and I'm not advocating or nothing, but I don't think when these people take these drugs, they're not like these evil people who are going, we're taking the drugs. I think it's just literally like trying to find a 0.25%, because when you get to that level, it really is just like, I think, what's the edge? How can I get to that edge? And so look, I can understand it, but having said that, Ben Johnson, what hurt me about Ben Johnson is that he came back, so I was super excited when he came back. He got fucking done again.
Yeah,
he got done again. It's like, you're a moron. The only one I can think about like that is I follow the UFC quite a bit, and the two fights that I love the most, I followed, obviously I tend to like the best guys, is John Jones and Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
And they've both recently got done for the second time for once again performance-enhancing drugs. And what sucks about that is, remember when Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor were going through their thing, and Nate Diaz kept saying, everyone's on steroids in the UFC, everyone's on steroids, and everyone's like, ooh, Nate's crazy. You don't know what he's talking about. Well, apparently it looks like they are.
Yeah.
And the question I have to you, Speed, is how does this tarnish their legacy? Because both of those guys were considered
the best of all time.
The best of all time.
And we got our mate Big Ben
Yes.
Wilkinson, and me and him always went back and forth about John Jones.
Yeah.
Purely because it started, and it's one of those wink things that, you sort of start backing someone early, and I kind of got on John Jones early, and it was sort of, it got multiplied by, we used to play the UFC video game, and I would always use John Jones, and then every time I beat him, I would just look at him and go, bones. And he hated him. It's one of those things that you develop a hate pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm always on John Jones, and so then when he started testing positive, at first it's like, he's just doing a bit of coke, whatever, I said, I like a scumbag athlete.
Sure.
It's fine. I'm like, hey, he likes to party, so what? It's not exactly performance enhancing. But then it's like, he's tested positive tests. He's taking this drug.
What was your view when he crashed his car into the pregnant lady in the intersection? How was your view on that? I know it's not sports related, but
that's
pretty scumbag.
That's pretty scumbag. That's beyond the level of party. I like party scumbag. Like breaking the law scumbag, not so much.
Sure.
But it's one of those things where it's just, once you start like cheating in that sort of field, that's where it becomes that real grey area. It's just like, I know a lot of people do things and people don't, and people lie about what they've taken and this and that happens. Cool.
Yeah.
But it's then, like I said, so now you can't, who do you actually look at as being the greatest UFC fighter of all time? Because it was always like a toss-up, Anderson Silva, maybe George St. Pierre for a brief period, leading into into John Jones. It's like, well, who is it now? Because if they've been, stripped now, and the bloke you feel sorry for is Daniel Cormier, because he's the guy that keeps getting stitched up. Yeah. Losing fights last minute, taking on anyone he can.
Yeah.
He's been beaten twice, and it's one of those things they always go, but retroactively you've won it now. It's like, well, you haven't.
Especially that last one where he got kicked in the head. And,
it's horrible. Even just to go a completely different topic, but recently the Louisville Cardinals scandal, the basketball team, they had prostitutes on campus to help lure recruits, like blue chip sort of style, And Rick Pitino, was, I didn't know about it. It's like bullshit. If it was on your campus, you knew about it. But it's one of those things where they've gone, we're retroactively taking away your 2012, 2013 tournament victory. And it's just like, well, they were there.
Yeah.
They won it.
Yeah.
They celebrated winning.
Yeah.
Can you really take away someone's victory? And that's one of those things they always go back and go, like with the tour, like Lance, we'll take away your gold jacket and someone else won it. It's like, well, no, I'm pretty sure I came across the line first. So how do you really go with taking it back? That's the hard thing. Like you say, DC's lost twice to John Jones.
Yeah.
How do you now go, well, you actually won it now? It's like, it's not, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you can't, because, you still feel like a loser. That team that lost to Kentucky or whoever it was.
Louisville, yep.
Yeah, Louisville. As if they're going to sit there and go,
we
we're the
won
champions.
now,
They still feel like losers.
Exactly.
They didn't get drafted that year in NBA,
It's one of those things. You can't take back wins, you can't, you vacate them. All right, cool, but everyone's still, I remember watching it. Did you remember watching it? It happened. It's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah. Speaking of scumbags and things like that, you got some wrestling matches coming up in your alter ego.
Certainly do.
And he said, talk about scumbags. Let me tell you.
No, Steve,
Rocky Monero is as scummy as a scum.
I'm a good guy at the moment.
Oh, sorry, my bad. He's a good guy. Clean cut.
He's a hero.
He's a hero, my bad. But the Rocky Monero I know.
Yeah.
The Rocky Monero I've known for many, many years.
That repeatedly beat you in wrestling matches.
Beat me in a fake sport. and the Wrestle Clash version of Rocky Monero.
He's always fun.
Yeah, but I think he would fit under the John Jones banner of Scummy.
That's what always won that character over. You know?
Yeah.
So if you haven't...
Ben Cousins.
There you go. That
That's
was the inspiration for the gimmick.
That's right.
So that was one of the things, like, that's where I went with that character. And it's one of the things, like, okay, so people that don't understand wrestling don't understand why we always talk about it, because this is one of those examples where I can explain how wrestling ties into sports and real things. You know, and like, when you're watching, you know, like an event and you know someone's cheating and they win and it annoys you. Okay, so it's like me with the Patriots, like in the Super Bowl. I didn't want to watch the Super Bowl because the Patriots were in it and they've got a history of cheating. And, you know, my team got stitched up, the Steelers got stitched up by the Patriots. And it just really made me
upset. Can you just tell me quickly,
okay, so
in 30 seconds?
The Patriots have been done several times over the last few years. One's called Spygate. You know, they put gate at the end of everything in America because of Watergate. Yeah. So the Spygate was where they, against the Chargers, they were done filming their practice sessions in the week leading into the game.
Wow,
so they knew all their plays and stuff like that. So I was like, well, that's technically illegal. So they lost draft picks over it. But once again, they don't get the wins taken away. They still won the game and they still went to the Super Bowl. They've still won, you know, and they still won even though they cheated.
Yeah.
And then they had Deflategate, where apparently Tom Brady was deflating, they were having the balls taken down, so then they were easier to catch.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he ended up getting, like I said, they won the Super Bowl, and then later Tom Brady gets suspended for 4 games, but it doesn't take away.
Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Yeah, give a fuck.
So it's one of those things where, you know, like everything always seems to go in their favor. So you think they're cheating. So then they're essentially the wrestling
villains.
bad guys. You know? Like, and also the Eagles this year with the scrappy up and comers, you know, like the underdogs, you know, like the Shawn Michaels nipping up off the canvas, super kicking somebody, and that's what gave it that. You know, and that's what I'm really enjoying about being back at wrestling, is getting to teach guys how to tell stories.
Yeah.
And that's the simplest thing. Like, so many people just think, oh, it's just guys in not undies pretending to fight. And they think it's gay, which, you know, I don't understand why you would think it's gay watching oiled men try to pin each other down or make them submissive. There's nothing gay about that. That's just wrestling. But it's one of those things, like, you get a chance to really sort of tell good stories, you know, and like, so I've always based that sort of the character you're referring to, the Wrestle Clash version, the over 18 version. If you want to look up Wrestle Clash and look it up, it's a little bit, let's just say, on the nose. But it was one of those things where I based that character off Roger Ramjet.
Oh,
so it's easier to tell stories, you know, and you get that in sports too, you know. It's always like the guy that you sort of like that in your footy team or whatever, who's a little bit clumsy, but every now and then he might do something brilliant. And you hang out for the brilliant and you forgive the clumsy because you love the person.
Right.
So that's what the whole point of the character was. I came out, I acted like I was off my face on, you know, some sort of substance.
Which was
WizFizz.
WizFizz, that's right. Yeah.
Packets of actually the lolly WizFizz, bit of sherbet.
Yeah.
And then during the match, I would be sort of half asleep, not really paying attention, getting my ass kicked for the most part. And then at the end of the match, people in the crowd would throw in packets of WizFizz. I'd bury my face in it, come up with a big white face full of powder, and now I'm invincible. Hence, you know, Roger Ramjet was pretty clumsy. He had the little boys looking after him, and then he takes his Proton Energy pill, which was steroids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right.
And then all of a sudden, he's invincible and he's kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that's like I really am enjoying being back. So yeah, March 10th. For anyone listening,
let's get a plug.
Oh, I'm going to plug it.
We don't plug anything.
We don't, and it's our show, so we really should.
I know,
you know, like, it's not like we have to
waste.
ask permission to plug it. But if anyone's listening, March 10th, Latvian Hall, Riot City Wrestling. Come check it out, guys. And also March 16th at the Dom Polski Centre. That's right, Latvian Hall and a Polish place. If you have some sort of European ethnic centre in Adelaide, I will pretend to fight people there. But that's March 16th. It's a Friday night. It's at Dom Polski in the city for International Assault. And I'm also at Riot City Wrestling on March 10th and at the Latvian Hall in Wayville. So, Steve, I know you're going to be attending both, Steve. Tickets are available online, riotcitywrestling.com.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I've not been to wrestling in a long time.
There you go.
I don't watch it on the TV and I don't. Pretty local, but I really do enjoy, if you have a few beers at these shows.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is one thing, I've been involved in wrestling for a little while now. Whenever I've had people come along to the wrestling shows, and they've had a couple beers, no one ever leaves.
Disappointed.
No, they don't. They all go, wow, that was better than I thought it would be.
It's one of those things because it's one of the greatest sort of live. Because at the moment, like just to tape it into what's happening in Adelaide at the moment, we have our Adelaide Fringe Festival, which also ties into our Adelaide Podcast Festival that will be at next Tuesday. So tune into that as well, guys.
We have made it.
We have made it. We're getting 15 minutes on a Tuesday night to talk at each other. This is the pinnacle of talking at each other.
Don't be blasé.
We've made it.
We've made it.
Mum, I hope you're proud. But it's our Fringe Festival, you know, and it's all sorts of entertainment and stuff like that, live events, you know, live shows, and I sort of get frustrated every year because I think we should do a show at the Fringe because we've got the crowd for it and we've got the guys that can put on that sort of storytelling. It's like every show follows a similar sort of pattern, you know, and like there's the art to entertainment that I really, really enjoy. And it's one of those things where when you have a few drinks and you sort of just give yourself over to a show, you'll enjoy it. And the same thing happens with wrestling. You watch it on TV and go, that looks bullshit.
Yeah, that's right.
But there's something about being in that live crowd, you know, being around, you know, a whole bunch of friends and, you know, you get to, like, I'll be honest with you, my friends a lot of the time come and laugh at the other members of the crowd.
Yeah.
That's just pretty funny.
Let's make a pact.
Yep.
Let's make a pact. It's Fringe 2018 now.
Yep.
By Fringe 2019, we're going to have a show in there.
Are we?
I'm trying to get a pact.
Are we gonna do a big Hulk Hogan?
I think we should.
Macho Man handshake.
I think we should.
Okay,
this
is really isn't going to work for an audio medium. But right now, me and Steve are like winding it up. We're shaking. We're in ad. We're shaking on it. So by 2019, you will see some form of our entertainment wrestling at the Fringe.
And I challenge you, Rocky Monero. No, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrestling, Steve. You're terrible. Yeah, you just go back to the promote. You're good at promoting. Yeah, you're good at promoting, Steve.
Thank you.
And talking also.
That's probably the nicest compliment you've ever given me.
It's about
it didn't seem very genuine.
It was real. I really felt that. And I really feel you're special. But yeah, no, so if you want to see like a good live event, you know, you want to be part of, because this is just another tangent quickly. It's just one thing that it just is missing in the world. Like I've talked about it before, is the being around other people and atmosphere. I'm big on atmosphere. Yeah. Too many people these days, you know, watch movies online or stream things, or, you know, that whole lost art of watching television programs at the same time your friends watch it. You know, it's sort of gone because everyone just watches it on demand when they feel like it. With the exception of, this is going to sound really weird and this makes me not a man's man, but recently I've been enjoying a lot of the banter back and forth about Married at First Sight.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
You're not getting into that one?
I certainly
Jonah hasn't made you watch that one?
No, she doesn't. She watches the other one, the Jungle.
Oh, the Jungle. Oh, that's the worst of the three.
Celebrities one. Get me out of here.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah,
Jonah,
she's into that
Jonah,
stuff.
Please. But yeah, no, Married at First Sight. It's just car crash TV. It's been great. But it's been one of those things that it reminds me of the good old days where we had to, you know, everyone watches it at the same time, and then everyone, you know, instead of texting each other or whatever, or like calling each other and talking about it, now it's just everyone's online commenting. You know, you go on Twitter, you go on Facebook, and it's exploding.
Yeah.
And that's sort of that community thing that I love. And you get that when you go to a live, like I said, a live Fringe show, you go to a live wrestling event, you know, and you're around a whole bunch of people that are there for the same reason. They want to be entertained. They want to give themselves over to a performer for, you know, 45 minutes, hour, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just what I recommend everyone does. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you can't get to a Fringe show, if you can't get to a wrestling show, get yourself to the Elephant next Tuesday, or probably will be Tuesday by the time this podcast comes out. Tuesday night. Come down, say good day to us, AdelaidePodcastFestival.com.au. Look them up, guys. Ozcast Network, they're putting it on. They're doing a great event. I think you get a free beer with your ticket too.
Oh, wow.
And so that's...
I might buy 4 tickets.
Steve was on step 5, and I think we're going to go back to step 1. But that's going to be us for this week. Thanks for listening, guys. For Speak Caruana saying goodbye. For Steve Burrows,
see you later.
We'll speak to you next week. Peace.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.